Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that could reshape crypto as we know it. The SEC just dropped its investigation into Uniswap. Yeah, that's right. The most used decentralized exchange in the world just dodged what could have been a massive regulatory takedown. No charges, no fines, just dropped. But what does that actually mean? Is the SEC admitting defeat? Is DeFi finally in the clear? Or is this just the eye of the storm? This isn't just a legal footnote. This is a line in the sand. If you've been following the SEC's warpath, Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, you know they've been coming for anyone even remotely touching crypto. So the fact that they walked away from Uniswap, that's not just news, that's strategy changing. And here's the kicker. This could be the first real sign that Washington can't control decentralized finance the way it hoped. This moment matters. So today, we're going deep. What actually happened behind the scenes? Why the SEC blinked first? And does this mark the beginning of a safer future for DeFi, or just a temporary pause before the next crackdown? Strap in. This one's important. What just happened, and why it matters? Let's rewind the tape. The SEC started circling Uniswap Labs in 2021. Their main angle? Whether the company behind the Uniswap protocol was offering unregistered securities or operating as an unlicensed exchange. The concern was this: even if Uniswap is decentralized, Uniswap Labs, a US-based entity, was still maintaining the code, running the front end, and issuing updates. That gave the SEC just enough legal ambiguity to justify poking around. But on April 18, 2025, everything shifted. Uniswap's chief legal officer, Marvin Amory, confirmed the SEC dropped the investigation quietly. No press conference, no press release, just a letter. We're not pursuing this anymore. That's a rare move. The SEC doesn't drop high-profile cases often, especially not ones with political and financial weight. And this isn't some backwater altcoin we're talking about. Uniswap is the decentralized exchange. Over $1.7 trillion in lifetime volume, tens of billions in liquidity, protocol integrations across Ethereum, Layer 2s, and beyond. If the SEC was ever going to make an example out of DeFi, this was it. Uniswap Labs had always claimed they were just the builders, not the operators, and that distinction matters. Think of it like this. If someone writes the blueprint for a house, but doesn't actually build or sell the house, are they responsible for what happens inside it years later? That's basically what the SEC was trying to argue with Uniswap. But the decentralized nature of the protocol, open source code, no custodial control, no intermediary, makes that case really hard to win. And remember, this wasn't just about Uniswap. If the SEC had succeeded here, it would have opened the floodgates for enforcement against dozens of other DeFi protocols, many of them far smaller and more vulnerable. This case became a litmus test for how much legal responsibility developers hold in an open, decentralized system. So for them to walk away, it says something. It might be quiet, but it's loud in meaning. Why the SEC backed down? All right, why did the SEC back off? 3 reasons, and each one matters. 1. Legal weakness. They were probably going to lose. The SEC has taken a few legal bruises lately, big ones. Remember the Ripple decision in 2023? The judge ruled that XRP sales on public exchanges didn't qualify as securities. That one ruling punched a hole in the SEC's everything is a security argument. Uniswap's model? Even cleaner. The protocol is open source, permissionless, and automated. No central party promotes specific tokens. Uniswap Labs doesn't touch user funds, and they've always distanced themselves from listing decisions. That makes it tough to pin them as a securities exchange under current law. 2. Political pressure. Crypto's gone political, fast. Gensler's reign at the SEC is under fire from both sides of the aisle. Lawmakers are openly questioning his strategy. There's a growing sense that regulation by enforcement isn't cutting it. It's just stifling innovation. Dropping this case might have been a way to avoid a bigger PR nightmare heading into an election year. 3. Timing and optics. Crypto is becoming normalized. ETFs are launching. Fidelity and BlackRock are in the game. Even banks are testing DeFi rails. So picking a fight with the most transparent DEX, one that hasn't had a single major hack or scandal, starts to look like overreach, not investor protection. Put all that together, and the SEC's retreat starts to make a lot of sense. But that doesn't mean the war is over. What this means for DeFi going forward. So what's next? Is DeFi safe now? Kinda, but not totally. This decision gives breathing room to projects that follow best practices. Real decentralization, no token shilling, no sketchy admin control. We're talking protocols that are community run, don't touch funds, and don't lie to users. For them, this is validation. This signals 3 big shifts. 1. DeFi builders will double down on decentralization. Expect more projects to go pure, removing admin keys, decentralizing governance, and leaning into community development. Think DAOs with real voting power. Think front ends that are legally separate from protocols. If you want to dodge regulators, don't look like a business. 2. Investors might finally chill. Institutions have been on edge. This clears a path, maybe not wide, but walkable. Expect more TradFi players to start dipping their toes back in. DeFi might start feeling like less of a liability and more of an opportunity. 3. Other protocols could still be in trouble. This isn't a hall pass. If your protocol launched a token with vague promises of profits, or if your founders were out there tweeting about mooning soon, you're still a target. The SEC might have dropped Uniswap, but they're not packing up their crypto task force anytime soon. Here's another angle to consider. Global reaction. The US pulling back from aggressive enforcement might encourage more crypto innovation to return stateside. For the past few years, teams have been launching in Switzerland, Singapore, the Caymans, anywhere but the US. But now, if the SEC cools its jets, we might see that talent come back. More devs, more liquidity, more legit projects based on shore instead of in the shadows. And one more thing, users. People who've been wary of engaging with DeFi because of regulatory fears might finally dip their toes in. That means more wallets, more volume, more community growth. If you've been building something in this space, this is your moment to double down and do it right. The SEC backing off Uniswap is a landmark moment. It shows that regulators can't easily bulldoze truly decentralized systems. And it proves that when built right, DeFi protocols can stand their ground, even under the harshest spotlight. But it's not time to let your guard down. The regulatory landscape is still messy. Gensler may be on the ropes, but he's still swinging. And we haven't heard the last from Congress, the IRS, or even state AGs. Still, this is progress, a real win. And maybe, just maybe, it sets a new tone for what comes next. If this helped you understand what's going on behind the scenes, hit that like button and share it with your fellow crypto heads. The more we stay informed, the harder it is for bad policy or bad actors to wreck what we're building. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the SEC's getting cold feet, or was this just a strategic retreat? Either way, DeFi's still standing. I'll see you in the next one.